Alright folks, it's time for another Kerbal Space Program video. I haven't actually been playing very much. I did edit the code that sort of predicts orbits and things like that using the Kerbal atmosphere pretty extensively. So just to recap kind of what the code does, since it's been a while, I import all of my standard classes. I have an atmosphere model where I think somewhere in here I import probably down, yeah, right here I load this text file that loads the Kerbal atmosphere that has like altitude, pressure, density, and things like that, and that way I can interpolate. I've got the planet parameters, the gravitational constant, mass of Kerbal, the mu, I forget what the name of that variable is, but anyway, the radius, sidereal period, and that's to take into account the rotation of the planet. I compute the sidereal velocity, sidereal rotational velocity, the surface gravity, and then I return a couple things here. The derivatives is the 2D model, so I've got an x coordinate and a z coordinate. I've got two velocity states, and I've got mass because I model the mass of the vehicle. The first derivative of x and z is just the velocity. Those are the kinematic equations. The dynamics, you've got to get F equals ma, so you need all the forces on the body. So first you need gravity, so I compute the distance from the center of Kerbal, and I say if you are inside, for some reason I say less than 1. I guess I allow you to be inside the planet, which is not necessarily true, but I guess in this simulation you're allowed to go inside the planet. Anyway, if RSAT, the distance from the center of Kerbal is not less than 1, it computes the gravity using Newton's theory of gravitational law there. I compute the altitude to get the density, and then I basically make up some gravitational some aerodynamic parameters. These are the equations for aerodynamics, but the drag coefficient and the area I kind of just made up because I just don't know. And then I added some thrust models. I'll talk about these thrust models later, but for now, just know that I have thrust, and I compute a m dot based on specific impulse and the surface gravity. And then the second derivative is just the thrust divided by the mass plus the gravitational acceleration, and then arrow x. And I think in arrow x, I don't divide by mass. That is an error. Because grav x, where's grav x? See, that's acceleration. Arrow x, oh, nope, right there, q infinity divided by mass. Okay, that is pretty terrible. I thought there was an error, I guess there wasn't. Anyway, it doesn't matter because, well, I guess it does matter. All right, so then I create the state vector here, x dot, z dot, x double dot, z double dot, and the mass dot, and then I return that state dot, and this is just the derivatives routine. This is a function. These are all functions here, or called definitions, really. So this is where the code actually kicks off. So I read in the atmosphere model, and then I create initial conditions. So this is for the hop orbit. So there's a tutorial that you do where you just hop. And so I assume that the initial x position is the radius of the planet. I don't have any velocity. The mass of my vehicle in the tutorial is 2.4 tons. I've got a thrust of 38 kilonewtons, an ISP of 140. I made these drag coefficients up to get the right time, or right altitude. I have a stage 1 burn time of 38 seconds. I don't have a second stage, so I put minus 99 in there. And period I don't use, GNC I don't use, apogee I don't use. Everything else is commented out for now. So then I compute the initial mass, and then I use the ODInt toolbox to integrate those derivatives, and then I just have a bunch of plots. Oops. So if I hit Control R, no, F5. If I hit F5 and run this, here's the mass, there's my burn, and then this is my hop orbit. So I shoot up, I get to an altitude, and then I come crashing back down. My z coordinate doesn't change. This orange circle is Kerbal, and this is my little hop. Cool. All right, so the hop orbit is not really an orbit. The hop tutorial is cool, but it's cooler when you do the suborbital flight, because it's essentially the same thing, except you have a heavier aircraft and you have way more thrust and a higher ISP. So you run this one, and now you can see, oop, I think I turned GNC on. I don't want to give that away yet. So there's my mass. Now you'll notice that I'm a little bit higher, and the nice thing is I'm about 70 kilometers above Kerbal, which is where I want to be. This is kind of cool. This is the velocity. I hit apogee, my velocity starts coming back down, and then it goes back up. No. This is burn. This is apogee down here. So this is burn phase, and then I coast up to apogee, and then my velocity goes negative. This is absolute velocity, and then I come crashing back down. And if I look at, where's my altitude plot? There it is. So there's my altitude, comes up here. So right here is apogee at around 160 seconds. And right there, 160 seconds is apogee. Perfect. Now, what does this GNC do? GNC stands for Guidance, Navigation, and Controls. If you fire a rocket straight up, you will coast to apogee and fall back down. Now, you could shoot the rocket straight up, turn 90 degrees, and fire the rocket and hope to get into an orbit, but that's not very efficient. What would be better is if you fire the rocket and slowly turn. And so I have an if statement in here that says, if GNC, here's the thrust, but make theta, which is sort of the angle of your thrust vector, make that go from 0 to 90 degrees using the altitude. So the reason why I have apogee here is because I basically say, like, hey, apogee is 80,000 or 80 kilometers. Fire your thruster such that it linearly goes from 0 degrees, which is straight up at an altitude of 0, and then when altitude divided by apogee equals 1, the thrust vector is 90. And if you do that, if you turn GNC on, and you kind of saw it, kind of gave it away, is that the z coordinate is actually changing. And if you look at here, I actually have kind of a little wiggle here. And if I fired a stage 2 rocket right here, I would go right into an orbit. Okay. Now, one thing that we need to kind of pay attention to is my deltaV right now, right? So for this first stage, I've got about 1,000 meters per second of deltaV. Okay. Now, let's make an orbit. So if I comment these out and comment these out and say, okay, let's compute an orbit. Well, my desired orbit is 70 kilometers. That's outside the atmosphere of Kerbal. My velocity at orbit is mu divided by r. And it turns out my velocity at orbit is about 2,300 meters per second. And that's how much deltaV I need. Now, keep in mind, that's deltaV this way. If I fire 1,000 meters per second straight up and turn, I would still need 2,300 meters per second. So the idea is to try to curve that and get from the first stage, get a little bit of deltaV in that direction, and then circularize it. Keep in mind, the side real rotation velocity is 174 meters per second. So you're going to get, if you do an equatorial orbit, you're going to get 174 meters per second of deltaV for free, which is kind of nice. Well, for free, whatever. So this is the amount of deltaV I need, 2,300, but that's in the orbit, right? So let's see if this works right. So if I put the initial position at r, where r is the radius of the planet plus the desired orbit, and then I put the velocity of the, using this equation here, that velocity of the orbit, all of this doesn't matter. If I run this, whoops, F5, not the number 5. EOF scanning, there's a triple quote issue, here we go. So I should be perfectly in orbit around the planet. I don't know what this is, it's figure 1. And here's the mass, constant, altitude, there's x, and that's probably z, I don't know, I don't know what these things are. But it doesn't matter, I'm in orbit, okay? So what we want to do now, basically, is stitch together the suborbital flight with a second stage and circularize the orbit. And so here is essentially what I've done with this 2-stage rocket here. And if you look here at this code up here, I basically have, like, if t is greater than stage 1 time, fire stage 1. If I'm in between stage 2 start and stage 2 end, fire stage 2. And so I've created this this rocket here. All of these numbers are pretty much fake, but I'm going to try and build this in Kerbal Space Program. But the idea is I still use the same stage 1 time of 38 seconds. My stage 2 is 150. ISP is the same for both. Here's thrust 1 and thrust 2. I did this ahead of time, and let me just show you what happens if you don't fire long enough. So I'm going to fire for 50 seconds rather than 150. Here's sort of my situation here. So here's stage 1, I fire again, and even though I fire really, really hard, I still come crashing back down into the planet. And if you look at my deltaV, you know, here is stage 1. I coast for a bit and fire stage 2, and again I've got a total deltaV of about 2,500 seconds. Now the interesting thing here is, as I fall away from the planet, right, I am gaining potential energy and losing kinetic energy, and then I fall towards the planet, and then the simulation just kills or stops. Not kills, but starts. Now if I fire for the full 150 seconds and run this, now you can tell I'm in orbit here because I have the sinusoidal motion here. And here's my orbit. So here is sort of my two-stage transfer orbit here. So I fire stage 1 and then fire stage 2, and then I go into this orbit. And it's not perfectly circular, it's a little bit elliptical, but you can kind of see this rise and fall of this sinusoidal motion. What we really care about though is my deltaV, and it's looking here like I have 1,000 here, and then I coast and fire again. And this is about, that's a lot. That's 2,300. Yeah, I mean, that was the velocity, 2,300, but I went down to like 150. So that's like 2,300. So this is like, I need about 3,000 meters per second of deltaV to comfortably get into an orbit. Okay, so here I am in Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to try to build a rocket. By the way, I've gone through the tutorials, but I've never gone through career mode or science mode or anything. I'm going to try and build a rocket that has 3,000 meters per second of deltaV. I may even just use 3 stages, maybe some boosters, just to get me that extra bit of deltaV. But I'm going to try to build a 3,000 meter per second deltaV rocket and see if I can get it to orbit. I'm going to pause the video and come back in a bit, okay? Okay, folks, so I over-engineered the crap out of this. If you look at this, I've got 4,500 meters per second of deltaV, so I honestly think I'm going to blow out of this atmosphere. I may, I wonder, you know what, I'm going to add a stage. Actually, I'm going to put these here, put this up here. Okay, so I found these like huge rocket boosters. That's 1,100 meters per second of deltaV right here. They're just massive. So I guess I'm gonna activate these and activate these decouplers and blow these boosters away. And then I guess activate the swivel at the bottom, which only has 632 meters per second, and then activate these boosters, which don't have very much, but boosters, and then this guy. But once this guy's done and this guy's are done, I'm gonna put this down here. So probably want to add a stage. Okay, so I'm gonna activate the 4 boosters, decouple them, activate the main swivel. I mean, honestly, all these should be on at the same time, but I feel like I said, I think I'm gonna like blow up in the atmosphere if I do that. And then I'll deploy that stage, activate the boosters when those run out. These are solid rocket boosters. When these run out, I'll activate the main, and you can see like once all of this is gone, I've got 2,500 meters per second of deltaV. So even if I completely screw up and go straight up, I should be able to circularize the orbit using this guy. That does assume that the deltaV is instantaneous, which it's not. And then hopefully I have enough left over to turn this on. These things are going to go so fast that I need to like angle this thing to like 45 degrees as quickly as I can and then turn on stability augmentation. So hopefully I can do that. Here we go. I'm going to clear the launch pad. Valentina Kerman. I'm rooting Valentina. I really hope we get there in time. I really hope I get you to orbit and back safely, because I'm a little concerned for you. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. 4 rocket boosters, and then be going so fast. Why am I rotating? Oh, is this an unstable rocket? Shoots. Oh my gosh, this is an unstable rocket. Turn on stability augmentation. Stop that roll. Okay, well there goes my side velocity. I don't even know which direction I'm pointing. Okay, well these solid rocket, these boosters are gonna run out real quick. That's my apogee already. Like I said, if I screw up, it's okay. Okay, so there goes the solid rocket boosters. Okay, so let's get rid of those. Oh gosh. And then I blew up. Did I blow up my main engine? I blew up my main engine. Okay, where you need to rotate so I can actually pull this guy. There we go. Oh no, keep traction control on. Okay. I can't turn off these boosters, so I'm just gonna keep angling to 90 degrees. Yeah, because that's just gonna keep going up. Let's see, where's my rocket? Okay, come on, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so there's my orbit velocity at 8,500. So I lost one of my engines. Okay, so here come the radials. Oh, yes. Okay. And then, all right, I'm at 76. I feel like I should, this rocket's probably slow. I say we fire. Where am I? All right, let's go. Let's make sure we're at the proper, all right, fire. Oh, I'm gonna turn it on. Okay. Hopefully we just ride this out. Oh gosh, that's terrible. The inclination of the orbit is like 45 degrees. Okay, so this is 2,800, and I just need to get this to be 2,300, so I should have like 1,000 meters per second of deltaV left over. Let's angle it down a little bit. But I already got to orbit with this guy. I didn't film it, so he's just kind of hanging out. I don't even know who's in there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. So we're firing. We still got 1,800 deltaV. Oh, shoot. Let's turn off the engine because that is going very quickly, and I don't want to miss it. And cut. Okay, so let's see. Apogee is 114. Perigee is 20. So we need to, well, actually, what we need to do is warp to apogee and do a home and transfer, basically, and then go to prograde. So hopefully our rocket is going to orient prograde. And then we just throttle up. And when that gets to 60, we have done it. Okay, I forgot to check the aerodynamics of the rocket, and that was why the rocket twisted as it went up in the atmosphere. It was unstable, and so I probably needed to add more fins at the bottom to make it stable. I probably also should have activated my main engine at the same time as the boosters because it blew up when I deployed the boosters away. But I had so much margin that it didn't really matter. So I'm in orbit. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how, I think I had 4,500 meters per second of deltaV, and I've got an extra 1,500. So if you take 4,500 minus 1,500, that's 3,000. So that seems about right. I had 3,000 meters per second of deltaV, and I think in the Python script, let me run this again, I think that's how much I needed. Let's see. Yeah, it was 1,000 for the first stage, and then yeah, about 2,500, so like 3,500. Yeah, so exactly, that's exactly how much I needed ish. Cool. So let's get Valentina home. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna warp to periaps, and we're gonna turn retrograde. And we are still full. Okay, so there's my rocket, and then we are going to... Wait, did I fly past periaps? No, I'm 3 minutes away from it. We can just turn on the engine now, it's fine. So I'm gonna... So basically we just wanna burn until my periaps and my apoaps get below. I activated my burn a little bit too soon before periaps, so apoaps and periaps are kind of like turning, which is not very optimal, but I'm not exactly going for optimal. I just want to come home. And actually, if I turn it in faster, I might actually land close to... Nope, I missed it. I'm just going to land on land. That's totally fine. Okay. So right about here, let's go ahead and warp, and then let's turn prograde. Wait, no. Wait, actually, I think that's fine. Yeah, we want to turn prograde. I need to how do I need to decouple. No, that's the crew hatch. How do I activate you? Oh shoot, that's gonna blow up in the atmosphere. I'm here, slash to cancel. Okay, where am I? Okay, I still got time, but I'm gonna blow up if I can't figure out how to jettison. Shut down engine. Decouple. Okay, so there we go. Okay, I need to turn retrograde, or I'm about to be screwed. Okay, good. Okay, so hopefully I can survive this entry, and oh gosh, that's not gonna hit me, is it? That was close. Let's go ahead and kill Python here so I can use as much memory as possible. Okay. Yeah, because I can tell my compute, my video, my OBS is lagging like crazy. How long is this video? 23? That's not too bad. Oh, this is Bill, not Valentina. Valentina's just... sounded like something broke. Yeah, Valentina's in this orbit. I don't even know if that rocket's got... Something's blown up, and I don't like it. Like, am I getting too hot? Orbit velocity. I mean, I came in at a normal orbit velocity. It wasn't like I was doing anything crazy. Like 2,300 meters per second. I can't deploy this yet. I'm not planning on it. This game is kind of stressful. Yes. Oh no. I've seen these people where they like constantly tumble, you know, when they're coming down, and it like like tricks the game. It like glitches the game into thinking that like it does, it's not heating up one surface fast enough or something like that. Let's just get home safely. Leo debris contributing to debris. I mean, Bill is super chill for the fact that his heat shield is at like 75% capacity right now. By the way, the rocket that I built, I mean, I've never played through career mode or science mode. I think I said that already. So I literally just like grabbed whatever parts I could. I just found like the engines with high newtons of thrust and threw it on there. And then when I didn't have enough thrust, I threw some boosters on there. That's why the massive boosters were at the bottom. It looked like it was just like insane. That's why I didn't want to activate the main engine, because I figured I'd burn up in the atmosphere on the way up. But it looks like it would have been fine if I would have just throttled down. Not to mention I ended up blowing it up. It looks like we're good here. I don't think I'm going to really say anything for the rest of this video. I mean, if you guys want to stick around and watch me bring Bill home. It looks like, is it safe to deploy? Yeah, it's safe to deploy. I mean, I guess, what are we at, 14 kilometers? When this gets down to like 250, I like to wait till I get down to 250. As long as this number doesn't go up, we're fine. Because it means we're descending into the atmosphere and the density is going up, and so our terminal velocity is going down. So as long as we don't accelerate, we'll be okay. I might actually land in this little stream here. Okay. I think we're at 6 kilometers. I'm going to go ahead and deploy. Well, I've activated it. There we go. There goes the drogue chute. Yeah, I put a minimum pressure of 0.4, so I was well below that. It probably just took half a second. And then at 1,000, so at 1 kilometer, oh shoot, that's AGL. No. That's 1,000 mean sea level. I think I'm going to hit the surface. Okay. I got scared and I went ahead and just deployed it. Because I think this altitude is like, there's some difference between AGL above ground level and mean sea level. But then again, this is a river, so I don't know, maybe this is sea level. I can't believe I'm going to land perfectly in this creek. That's actually kind of, well, that's definitely not a creek. That's like a fjord or something. I'm not a geographer. Okay, Bill, I mean, you know, Navy SEALs would be right on you. Is that the moon? Dude, aqueous. You're just aqueous. You're just chilling. Ooh, that was kind of neat. Oh, the apoapsis. Altitude is, yeah, that's funny. I like how they give you an apoapsis that goes like through the planet. Oh man, definitely deployed the chute too early. I mean, now it's just taking its sweet time to get down to zero. But I did it. I got into orbit, building my own rocket. So that's kind of cool. You know, cross that off the list. I guess now I feel like I think I have like 2 more tutorials to go through. I don't know what's next. Maybe I feel like I need to go through science mode or career mode and learn what all the parts are, because I don't know what the parts are, and I'm just kind of messing around and I don't really know what I'm doing. I understand a couple things, but I guess I don't know what I'm working with. So I probably need to just start doing career mode, and I'll probably start filming that, documenting my progress along the way. like how this is all in real time. This is, I mean, I know you can like time warp. Oh, I didn't even think of that. You just time warp 4 seconds, or times 4. And splashdown is, I guess you YouTubers, doesn't matter. You can just fast forward in the YouTube video. But I'm doing this real time. Here we go. Oh, that's the shadow of the drogue shoot of the parachute. Splashdown. And we made it. It's EVA just for kick. EVA unavailable. Come on. Lame. All right. Well, I guess I want to stop this video. I hope you enjoyed it. That was kind of entertaining for me at least. And I guess I will, I don't know what the next video will be. Maybe some career mode or science mode, or maybe I'll just try and go for gold and get to the moon. We'll see. Anyway, I guess talk to you guys later.